The family's anger and regret stem from realizing, too late, the true value of the chosen ones. And this realization often comes like a haunting echo that keeps replaying in their minds. At first, they never thought much of the chosen ones. They believed they were just another person within the family structure, someone who could be dismissed, overlooked, or even criticized without consequence. The chosen ones often grew up surrounded by misunderstanding, seen as the odd one out. The one who thought differently, felt differently, and carried themselves with a sense of depth and calling that others couldn't grasp. This difference created distance, and instead of embracing them, the family allowed pride, jealousy, or ignorance to push them away. What once felt like indifference begins to turn into deep regret when they realize that what they had in their midst was not ordinary, that they let go of someone divinely set apart, someone destined for greatness, and someone whose light could have blessed the entire family had they cherished it. Instead of neglecting it, this regret intensifies when the chosen ones finally step into their true power and purpose. Suddenly, those who once mocked or ignored them are forced to watch them shine, watch them rise, and watch them become what they were always meant to be. It stings deeply because the family remembers how they had opportunities to stand with them, to nurture them, to believe in them, but instead they turned away. The anger they now carry is not just directed outward, but inward, because deep down, they know they played a role in pushing away what was precious. They rage at themselves for not seeing clearly, for letting their pride and blindness get in the way of love and understanding. The frustration also comes from the realization that they cannot undo the past. They cannot go back to those days when the chosen ones were yearning for support, love, and validation from their family. They cannot erase the harsh words, the rejections, or the silent treatments that cut deeply into the soul of the one they now wish they could hold on to. They see that the chosen ones no longer need their approval, no longer depend on their presence, and no longer look back with longing. The family's anger is fueled by the fact that they are now powerless to reclaim the bond they once took for granted, powerless to stop the chosen ones from walking into a future where the family no longer holds influence in the quiet moments. They remember how the chosen ones would try to express themselves, how they carried ideas that seemed too strange, dreams that seemed too big, or compassion that seemed too unusual. Instead of encouraging it, the family silenced it, mocked it, or dismissed it. And now, those very traits are the reason the chosen ones are admired, respected, and elevated by the world outside. The family feels betrayed by their own blindness, because the treasure they overlooked is now seen by everyone else. Their anger grows because the truth is undeniable, and the truth is that they failed to protect, honor, or value what was in their care. They struggle to accept the reality that the chosen ones will not come running back just because of their regret. They see them moving forward, building a life that no longer revolves around family approval, and it burns within them that they no longer hold authority over their destiny. It is a painful awakening when they realize that the one they treated so casually was, in fact, the pillar that could have elevated the entire family's legacy. Their anger masks the shame, the guilt, and the sorrow that now weighs heavily upon them because, in losing the chosen ones, they lost a chance to be part of something extraordinary. The chosen ones endured neglect, rejection, and misunderstanding from the very people now filled with remorse, and that pain left a lasting imprint on their spirit. From the earliest days, they were marked by differences that set them apart, whether it was the way they thought, the way they felt, or the way they carried a sense of purpose that others could not grasp. Instead of receiving encouragement or support, they were often silenced, criticized, or pushed aside. Their ideas were considered strange. Their sensitivity was seen as a weakness, and their determination was mistaken for rebellion. They walked through their own home feeling like an outsider, yearning for acceptance, but only finding rejection. What the family failed to recognize was that these very qualities were not flaws, but divine markers. Signs of a higher calling, signs that they were chosen for something greater than what the family could understand at the time. This neglect was not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it came in the form of absence moments when they needed someone to listen, but no one had the patience. Other times it came through comparison, being measured against siblings, cousins, or peers, and being told they were not enough. Even in times of achievement, the chosen ones felt invisible, their victories brushed aside, their talents minimized. They carried wounds from words that cut too deeply and from silences that spoke even louder. The rejection they endured hardened them, shaping them into individuals who learned how to rely on their inner strength. Because the external support they deserved was nowhere to be found, the misunderstanding ran even deeper for their family, mistook their uniqueness for strangeness and their independence for defiance. When they spoke about dreams larger than the family could imagine, they were ridiculed. When they tried to walk paths different from tradition, they were scolded. When they reached for something beyond, they were accused of arrogance. What was misunderstood was not arrogance, but destiny, calling them to rise, to move differently, to break cycles that had kept the family in patterns of limitation. Instead of seeing that the chosen ones were carrying a vision meant to bless many, the family saw them as a threat to their comfort to their way of doing things, to the control they thought they had. Yet, in enduring this rejection, the chosen ones were being refined. They learned how to carry pain without letting it destroy them, how to walk alone when others would not walk with them, and how to trust their inner voice when the outer voices only tried to silence them. They learned to find validation within themselves and from the divine, rather than from those who could not see their worth. This painful process carved resilience into their character, a resilience that would later be the very force that carried them into greatness. What the family dismissed became the very foundation of their strength. Now, as the family looks back with remorse, they begin to realize that their neglect and misunderstanding were not just small mistakes, but deep wounds that shaped the chosen one's entire journey. They see how their lack of support forced the chosen ones to grow stronger, but also how much pain they caused in the process. They remember the times they turned away when they should have stood closer, the times they mocked when they should have encouraged, the times they doubted when they should have believed. The weight of this regret sits heavily on their conscience, for they cannot deny that the chosen ones succeeded not because of them, but despite them. Their remorse grows as they see the chosen ones walking confidently in purpose, embraced by others who recognize the greatness they once overlooked. The same qualities they misunderstood are now celebrated by the world, and it becomes clear that what they once rejected was never meant to be ordinary. The family is forced to confront the painful truth that their neglect, rejection, and misunderstanding were not only failures of love, but also missed opportunities to stand beside someone destined to change lives. They are left with the haunting memory of how they treated the chosen ones and the heavy realization that no apology, no explanation, and no attempt at reconciliation can erase the scars they left behind. Destiny separates the chosen ones, proving that their worth was never meant to be validated by family approval, and this truth unfolds in the most painful yet liberating way. The chosen ones were never meant to stay confined in the limited spaces that their families created for them. From the very beginning, there was something about them that could not be contained, a light that could not be dimmed, and a calling that could not be silenced. Their journey was designed to break free from the generational patterns, the cycles of doubt, and the small expectations that held everyone else in place. While the family may have tried to keep them bound, destiny always made a way for their release. Every door that closed, every rejection they faced, and every misunderstanding they endured only pushed them closer toward the path that's divinely aligned for them. The separation often began subtly with a sense of not belonging, a quiet inner voice reminding them that they were different and that they were not meant to blend into the crowd. They felt it in the way their spirit longed for more than what the family valued, in the way they dreamed beyond the limitations placed on them, and in the way they could not conform to the expectations that everyone else accepted. Their resistance to conform was not rebellion, but divine alignment. Family members may have seen it as disobedience, arrogance, or distance, but it was destiny pulling them into a new direction. The distance grew not because they didn't love their family, but because the higher calling on their life demanded space to grow, space to rise, and space to prepare for the purpose that awaited them. As destiny separated them, the chosen ones began to discover that their worth could never be measured by those who never understood them in the first place. Family approval had been a wound they carried,